Hey, thanks for stopping by. So this is 31 Days of Horror, and I've got this French movie lined up for tonight. It's a recent movie from 2017. My friend Kevin gave me the DVD, which I'm going to review. The movie is called Incident in a Ghostland from director Pascal Laugier. I don't know his work. Apparently he's done a few movies which have been festival favorites, and that's his more recent feature. I haven't seen the trailer. I saw the poster. It doesn't look good. I love French cinema. I'd like to cover more French movies on my channel in the future, so I'd like to give this movie a shot and see what it's like. I'm genuinely skeptical about contemporary horror movies, so I don't know. Let's give it a shot. Alright, okay, I'm back with you. I managed about 45 minutes of Incident in a Ghostland. It's a marginal improvement on last night's movie, Poltergeist, of which I only survived about 30 minutes. I had a quick look. It's a Canadian French production, so most of the movie was in English. There was occasional bit of dialogue and subtitled French. Okay, it's a story. There is a story. And the film has quite good pacing, so there are good things there. The movie begins quite promisingly. It starts with a close-up with a black and white picture of H.P. Lovecraft. It kind of zooms out of his portrait. Now that's awesome, right? It's not, however, a cosmic horror film. There is no Lovecraftian atmosphere in Incident in a Ghostland. It's a story of let's say there are three main characters. It's a mother, a French-Canadian mom, and her two daughters. And the movie starts off with them driving this antique kind of van to their new home, which is this creepy, remote kind of home falling apart. This feels like some kind of TV version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something, with just a little bit less grittiness and a little bit more kind of soap opera feel. So there are three characters, as I say, and unfortunately the story picks the most boring one. So one of the daughters is boring. She's like a wannabe horror writer. The other one is annoying. I couldn't even tell which one is supposed to be the elder one. They hate each other, they are horrible to each other. Then there is their mum, who is like a little knackered, obviously having two kids like that as a single mum. Poor her. She was the most interesting character, and she does show up again later in the film. I wish it was her movie. I wish she was a bit more in the film, because I thought her story was interesting. Her part of the journey was a bit more challenging, and she took some more brave decisions than the other characters. But instead we're stuck with the horror writer daughter, and we see her first as a teenager, and then we fast forward a few years and she's a renowned, successful best-selling author, and her latest novel is entitled Incident in a Ghostland. Once again I picked a movie which doesn't even qualify as a proper horror movie. There is violence, and there is a lot of that frustration where it's kind of you see the characters gagging, they're crying, they're miserable. So it has a lot of that atmosphere of and I don't want to say atmosphere because it's not an atmospheric film, sadly. You know, there is that misery that permeates films that have been coming out the last, let's say, since the rise of social media. There is that misery where I think cinema in general has lost its relevance by and large. So films today, they seem to be a bit shriveled up, and they're very aware of their own insignificance, let's say. And this movie, Incident in a Ghostland, is a prime example. It has those kind of very bleak colors. They're dialed down, and there is no richness there. Cinematography is also very... I managed about 40 minutes of this film. There wasn't a one single shot in the movie where I thought, okay, this is cinematic or this is promising. it's pretty bland. It's competent, but absolutely nothing there to say, okay, I can feel that this is going to be a visual feast. No, it's not visual. Editing is good, but for what it's worth. What I found very off-putting was the sound design. It was really banal. I don't know if the composer even watched this movie before scoring it, because music was so generic. It was almost like those random cues you can get out of your garage band, you know, or atmospheric, eerie piano tune or something. So, crap music, fairly boring cinematography, annoying, boring characters. What's their journey? I didn't finish the film, so as you can tell, it wasn't super engaging. I guess I'm definitely not target audience for this film. I don't know who the hell it's for. So I watched this Arrow DVD, and obviously with Arrow you have certain expectations, but I think their lineup of current releases is very hit and miss, so I don't know, I don't really collect their contemporary movies. This is from 2017, not a good vintage. I don't think 2017 was a particularly rich year for amazing films of any genre. Incident in a Ghostland embodies most reasons why I avoid contemporary cinema, and particularly contemporary genre films, contemporary horror films. It confuses stressful with suspenseful. It confuses depressing with realistic or engaging. So it's obsessed about trying to show you some realism. You know, there is the dreary kitchen sink realism which doesn't marry with poetic horror with me. If you're showing Lovecraft up front, I'm thinking, because Lovecraft for me is poetic, it's atmospheric, it's the opposite of dreary everyday shit. So it's a film, even though there is this kind of a haunted mansion, but it's stuck in a... Look, there isn't a single joke in this movie. Not even an attempt at one, not even a lame attempt at one, sadly. It kind of tries to be a bit more on the serious side and ends up being dreary. It tries to be character-oriented, and it ends up sort of riding the wave of cliches. I didn't feel for those characters, even though the idea of a single mom and her two daughters going into a predicament is a promising one. I think it was not explored thoroughly, at least in the first half of the movie. That was an underwhelming, not completely worthless, but, you know, I would say skip it. If you really, you know, I wouldn't want to collect a movie like this. You can maybe, if it pops up on your feed somewhere and you want to click it and give it a spin, if you're on a plane, and, you know, it's passable, but I would say it's not gonna leave like a massive major mark in film history. So Incident in a Ghostland, disposable.